This program contains strong language and strong sexual content. It is meant for mature audiences only. Listener discretion is advised. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Happy Hour Podcast. Of course, I'm Ray. I'm sitting here with Psycrotes tonight. Unfortunately, Matt and Mike couldn't make it, so we're doing it War Pig style. And
High Priest in the house.
Yeah,
if we got a Pornstar on, the High Priest has to be on the show.
And we're going to have the lovely Lauren Phillips on tonight. And Lauren, how you doing tonight?
I'm good, man. You know, living my my best pandemic life.
Everybody's trying to live their best pandemic life, and I'm sure Lauren, she's probably sitting there thinking to herself, okay, so the hosts are Ray and Psycrotes. Why the hell is he called Psycrotes? So real quick, the reason why his name's Psycrotes, and actually he legally had his name changed to Psycrotes. We've been pro wrestlers for many years. And you want to tell Lauren the story? Yeah.
Oh, tell me.
You know, I was young. We were drunk one night, and I told my buddy, I says, you know what? I'm going to change my name to my stage name. And he thought I was just fucking around. He's like, dude, bullshit. You're not going to do that. And the next day I woke up, I was like, well, shit, now I got to do it. Or he's going to think I'm a pussy. So, you know, I thought it was funny. So I went and paid my $200 and got my name legally changed to Psycrotes.
And the worst part is when we would call you your mom, we would hear you in the background. Yeah. You would have your mom call you Psycrotes. She'd be like, Psycrotes, Psycrotes, get up.
Till the day she died, she tried to remember. She would still call me by my old name sometimes just because she was out of habit, but she would try her best to call me by my new name.
Well, that's a good, like, drunken moment of, like, all of a sudden, let me just change my name.
Well, the funny thing is now, like, a lot of time when I meet somebody new and they ask me what my name is, I just say Steve, which is my old name, because I'm tired of explaining how to pronounce it or where it came from. I'm just like, it's Steve.
So it's Psycrotes.
Yep.
Yeah, Psycrotes. Yeah.
Like Socrates.
And real quick, we're gonna get into our fun little Cards Against Humanity segment. And earlier we sent you over some cards, and pretty much what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the blackface card, and then all you have to do, Lauren, is just pick which card you think best describes the answer to that. So pretty much the question is what never fails to liven up the party?
Okay. Hold on, I gotta mentally check myself for this one. Let's see. Do you want me to read out the answers that I get to choose from, or can I just choose one?
You can just choose one. That's fine.
Liven up a party. Huh. I part of me wants to, because I'm such a, I usually wear my beanie. A part of me wants to say wearing an octopus for a hat because it sounds so funny.
Yeah. And that's the unique thing with this game too, is that I always say you play to your crowd. You learn who you play with and all that. And a lot of people will choose the most vulgar thing on there, but some people, they'll be like, oh, well, yeah, I love this, so let me actually do this. And
now, if you wore an octopus hat in one of your movies,
I'm just like, in my mind, like when I go out, most of the time I always have like something in my hair, or I have I'm actually known for my pink beanie now when I go on set or if I'm going out. So I can put, you know, I feel like, I guess I must feel like naked if I don't have something on my, like something in my hair or on my head.
Actually, I think I, you know, because we obviously extensively research you guys before, you know, well, I mean, we don't extensively research just because you're on the podcast. We're just sick freaks like that. But
usually, yeah, I'm assuming when you say research, you're saying that you're jerking off to me when you're looking at Ray.
Ray is going to neither confirm or deny because he's married. I may or may not have. I'm pleased.
So pretty much, Lauren, you consider yourself the extreme ginger.
I consider that. Yes, I consider that, and I'm also been labeled America's favorite ginger as well.
America's favorite ginger.
We had America's second favorite ginger, Bob Starr, on the show.
Yeah.
Our friend Bob, who's a famous wrestler, is also a ginger, and he was on our show a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. And now with that, and the age-old questions, is it true? Do gingers not have souls? I mean, that's the whole thing.
What are you talking about? I collect them. So I don't have a soul. I have souls.
Now, Lauren, also, I see that you have 2 new DVDs coming out, one of which sounds very intriguing, Nzani's Gangbang Cream Pie. The book and then you have Girls' Way, An Evening to Themselves. Do you want to give us a little bit of, the synopsis for, the one? We obviously know what's going on with that, but do you want to give us a little bit of info on those, if they're already out, where people can find those, all that?
Well, I always request, I always say go to Adult Empire if you're trying to get any adult DVDs. It's one of my favorite places if you're looking for anything, but Girls' Way as well, just has a lot of this stuff. So I always say I always try to say to go to the company, because I'd rather them be promoted by the company, because if you buy my stuff and you request me to the company, most likely I'll get rehired because it helps my sales.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah, they're my top 2 ones. I love working with Girls' Way. Girls' Way is actually, they're both really great to work with. I love cream pies, but I also like girls.
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
So it's great to be bisexual because I can enjoy everybody.
There you go.
Well, hey, there you go. That's a plus there. And I also see that you scored a 2020 XBiz Cam Award for Rising Clip Star, which was a female nomination. How did that come to be? What was that for? A certain clip? A certain? Well, actually, I see it says it's fan and industry voted. So how did that work with the industry and the fan? Did they put it up online?
Dude, I don't know how that stuff fucking works at all. I'm not gonna lie. All right, like most of the stuff, if it's a fan based vote for once you're nominated. Sometimes I know XBiz will let out if you want to get pre-nommed, but each I don't want to say platform, but each company is different. So I don't really know the statistics. I just know that if I promote it enough, I'm also doing some cross promotion with some of my friends to help them get votes as well. And we work together to try to do that. And that's all I know. That is, I'm in the dark, just like you. To be nominated is like, I feel like is so rewarding, but it is, it's so, I don't even know the word. It's like a mystical land, and I don't know how it works. It just works. Okay.
And with that, with the movies that you've done, you've done countless movies. I mean, we looked up how many films you've been a part of.
Ray's watched every single one.
I was about to say, do you know that? Did you count how many? Because I don't even know how many right now.
No, I literally looked, and it was just. I'm like, that is a long list.
How long have you been in the industry for now?
Well, I count my camming career as well now because of the industries basically like blending together. So I started camming 7 years ago, and I've been doing hardcore porn for 5 years.
Okay. I've heard that the money off of the camming can be more lucrative now than actual porn. Is that true?
It depends on the day. It's different now. Like 7 years ago, it wasn't as oversaturated as it is now. So like I usually had a goal for the day. I'd be like, all right, this is how much I want to make. I was a full-time cam girl. And for me, a full-time cam girl is basically putting 8 hours in 5 days a week. It was just like a normal job to me. And I made my goal easily. Nowadays, I'm a part-time cam girl. I do have a goal, but it's kind of like it rains, it pours, and there's a lot to go into it now because some of it's almost like a domino effect when it comes to stuff like this. I was around when it started getting oversaturated and girls were trying to get attention and they would start lowering their prices and to try to like get more stuff. Well, I don't fucking lower my price. I don't do that. That's not what I do. You're paying for quality, and that I've seen stuff like that happen. You have to either give more or do more for certain for these for more of a price, but then you're doing more and you're giving more, so it kind of lowers the price. So it's can you make more? If you're a full-time camera, I think you probably could do really well depending on the person, but they're still putting a lot of hours in. Like these girls, I don't even say girls, these models or performers are putting, not even on cam, are talking to these fans, these supporters, these customers. They have a relationship with them. Like that's more than a full-time job. Like I'm assuming if you think about how you have to hustle and they have to hustle, they're probably putting more than 8 hours in. And they're probably putting about 12, doing their clips, editing, promotion, engagement with their customers, their fans that are there to support them, and having to stroke the customer's ego, because at the end of the day, we're here to make them feel good. That's what we want. We want to make them feel, kind of forget about their worries and say, hey, you know what, you can come and talk to me and stuff. Like that's what I used to do. I have several fans that I still talk to today that when I moved to LA, they helped me by like getting some stuff off my wish list when I moved and I had no furniture. When I helped them when one of them was doing a job change and he was really scared and terrified. And I was there for him and I was like, don't worry, it's going to be great. I'm here. You can always talk to me. So it just depends. Like if you're doing 12-hour days to try to get really good money, right? Good for you. But sometimes I like being on set for like 5 hours where I get to interact with people well, before the pandemic anyway. You're with people physically, and unless it's a feature, I'm usually out by like, I think the longest I've ever been on set is like, that's not a feature, it would be 8 hours. And depending on the act that I'm doing, it depends on my rate. And then I get to go home and kind of like, so it just depends. Like, I think everyone has a different opinion, and I think each job, it shouldn't matter how much money you're making, as long as it makes you feel good and it helps you with your future and your goals and the career, and it makes you feel like a superstar. At the end of the day, that is worth more than $1 million,
Yeah. And throughout all the scenes and the cam scenes and all that, regular scenes, cam scenes that you've done, are there any scenes that you can think of right off the top of your head that stick out to you that are your favorites? Or you sit there and you're like, man, that was such a crazy scene. I kind of like that. Like, because you know the way it works with the adult industry.
And on the flip side, were there any scenes that stick out that were just weird or awkward?
Well, I have like several scenes that I like that still pop in my head and I'm very proud of. So I did, it was probably not one of my first scenes, but it was one of my couple of scenes with kink.com. It was for Sex and Submission. It's called Scream Queen. Okay. And I loved it. My character was a girl coming from a town into LA to be a star. And I had to play this very doe-eyed country type girl, like, from just a small little town or city. And I'm coming to LA to be a star and an actress. And what happens is I answer an ad, and then it goes into something very kinky, and I get like, we did this whole thing where I was in a cage and I'm trying to reach for the key, and then Corvus was actually my male talent, and he comes from behind, like behind the cage. All you see is darkness, and actually was a door, and he could come and he snatches me, and I have to do this scream, and it was like part horror porn, and
Oh,
like,
that's awesome.
so like it was really fun for me to do, and I really liked it. I had such a great time working with him. I also did I love when I did the parody of Jurassic World. That was fun to
that
do.
sounds tremendous. That sounds tremendous.
Please tell me you got banged by a dinosaur.
Yes, I fucked a dino lady.
I know what I'm watching. I know what I'm watching when I get home.
And then I had a fun time. One of my really good proud ones is I did a VR scene for VR Bangers, and it was called Stolen. It's supposed to be a Halloween special, and basically it was a also horror porn-ish, and it was supposed to be like a twist on Saw. So we're all kind of caged in, and we're trying to figure out how we got there and how to get out, and we're like basically doing like sexual things in the POV to try to figure out how to get out and try to do it. And it was actually really, really fun to do, and it was probably one of the longest times I've ever been on set too. And then my last one is recent, is also with Wood Rocket, who did Jurassic World. We did Area 51. Parody.
Oh, was that? Yeah, I think I have that down. Was that
that was with April? Yeah, it was with April O'Neil, and the alien was played by Tommy Pistol. And I have to say, like, it was so much fun to work with everybody, and like it was that's probably one of like those are like my favorite scenes so far of being having this whole creative feel. It's really fun.
Yeah, and I saw that scene, and I was like, this is glorious. Because I, like me, like, and we talk about this all the time on the podcast, that when you watch porn, like, it slowly gets weirder and weirder and weirder and weirder. Like, you sit there and just regular traditional porn doesn't do it for you anymore. Next thing you know,
once you've been on the internet,
and
you've seen all there is to see.
Yeah, once you start Googling things, and you're like, oh, well, blah, 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 okay, gangbang with 3 Sasquatches, and then and then all of a sudden that's going into your brain. And yeah, I definitely saw there was one.
Please tell me these aliens in this movie were from Uranus.
I'm just saying, like, I think last year was probably like the tipping point, like, of everything that I've done. Like, I'm trying to figure out like what next they're gonna ask me to fuck, because I fucked a dinosaur, I fucked an alien. I did a Family Guy parody where I was Lois, and I fucked my son and the dog.
That's hot.
So I'm trying to figure out, like, and I've been nominated, I think, about 3 times now for outrageous sex scene. And I'm like, what the fuck are they gonna have me fuck next? Like, I just.
Oh my god!
There's gonna be a movie soon with a scene where somebody's fucking a COVID patient in the hospital.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Something like that, right?
Yeah. Blovid. That's what it's gonna be. Blovid-19. Yeah. So,
instead of lockdown, it's gonna be outbreak or something.
Lockdown.
Or locked in.
Yeah. I saw a scene that you did. It was a scene pretty much, you were being hypnotized and you were trying to knock off smoking. And and then towards the end of the scene, like, you're watching, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, dude's shoving like 2 packs of cigarettes in your mouth. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, well, this took a twist. I was like, I've never seen this before. So, and I sat there and I thought about it. I'm like, man, you should do the same thing, but as the Wendy's girl. Your hair, that's the Wendy's girl, but at the end, someone just shoves a bunch of French fries in your mouth, and I'm like, there it is, right? Like that's it. Like,
it's funny because that scene is with Lady Fire, her husband Lays Fire. Sorry, I can always never pronounce his name. And they're both really awesome. And when we did it, it was super cool. And That clip, and I did an Auntie Lauren clip with her as well, where I seduced my nephew to try to get impregnated. Those two scenes blew up with them. Like I have fans that call me Auntie Lauren all the time.
Nice.
So
Yeah,
it's funny.
I love how comfortable you are with just talking about those scenes as if they're absolutely nothing. It's just like, oh yeah, no big deal. Just yeah, I was Lois. I fucked my son and I fucked the dog, and that's that. And I'm like, this is like the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life. Like,
well, for me, it's I don't know. I don't know if it's just because I've been in the industry for so long or something, but I was actually having a conversation with my agents about this. But I'm here to be a fantasy. It's a video, it's a clip. Like I'm not going to like the person that played the dog. It wasn't a real dog. It was a person playing a dog. I'm not trying to promote any like negativity, but it's a fantasy. People want that, and it's fun for me because that's what I like to do. But I said this to my agent, like you would never see someone go up to like any other actor or actress in mainstream and think that what they did was like legit. Like I wouldn't go up to Christian Bale and really think that he's Batman and that he's going to save LA. Like, it's for me, it's just, I like playing those characters, and I don't know. I know it's very taboo, and there's some people that might not like that, but I personally like trying different fantasies, and I think keeping it a fantasy is fine. I think it's cool and interesting, and it's artistic.
And I imagine nowadays in porn, you've got to do something extreme to stand out because everything's been seen and done.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, they're parodying everything, like everything, literally. And we were talking about this with Sophia West when we had her on a couple weeks ago. That literally everything has a parody. And if there were to be one thing, one movie, one thing, anything like that you haven't parodied, what would you say that would be?
Oh my God, I already know the answer because I said it like a few days ago. So I rewatched the Amazon original called Carnival Row, which is I don't know if you haven't watched or heard of it. Basically, it's a series that was, I don't know if it was directed, but I definitely think he produced it, from Orlando Bloom.
Okay.
And he's an actor in it as well. And basically what it is, it's about this this world that has humans, but also different fairy creatures. So they have fae people, and then they have other creatures in it. And I have fallen in love with this series so bad. And it's very like, it's definitely rated MA because they have sex scenes in it. And I think it would be super great. And I actually told the one of the directors from Road Rocket, because I want them to do it so bad. In one of the scenes, they show how a fairy has sex, right? So, and basically when they're having sex, the fairy will lift up the human, and they're having sex in the air while her like wings are flapping. And I was like, oh my God, that would be such a great porno.
It's great. With that, you've done all these crazy scenes. We brought up the one of you, the gangbang cream pie and all that. What do you feel is your worst porn related injury? You just sit there and you look back and you're like, man, that sucked when that happened. Like,
like I was actually injured.
Yeah. Like what would you say was the worst? Like, because stuff happens. Like we've done pro wrestling for 21 years, and there's times we land the wrong way, and the next thing we're out for 6 months.
I have two that were probably the worst. When I did my first interracial scene, was it? No, it wasn't my first interracial scene. It was, I did a scene. Oh, this actually didn't make it out because we couldn't finish the scene. But I actually was going to work with Shane Diesel. And it was supposed to be an anal scene. I stretched out my butt. I was just starting anal as well, so I was still trying to get used to everything and finding the way of my booty. And but the only thing I forgot to do is stretch out my pussy, which is one of the positions that they wanted to do was going to start in my pussy. And when we did the first position, which was my pussy, we unfortunately we started doing anal, and the scene just couldn't be done properly with what we were hoping for, so it had to be canceled. And I ended up having fish tears all in the line of my pussy, so I couldn't have sex for like a week because it feels like needles basically in my vagina. That was probably one. And then I had another scene where I did it was a very I don't want to say abusive, but it was very extreme. So it's a lot of hitting. And it was extreme throat fucking where I had to throw up. Well, the guy slapped my face improperly. It actually you would probably call it a bitch slap because he used the palm of his hand and he put his weight into it to the point that I fell to the floor.
Oh my God.
And the next day, I ended up having to go to urgent care because my right side of my face was swollen. So my cheek was swollen. I had pain on my jaw. And because it was so inflamed, I had blurred vision.
Wow.
Holy shit.
But that was a fun one to explain to the nurse.
Well, I think I went to urgent care. So there's in LA, there's an urgent care with a doctor called Dr. Riggs, who deals with basically everyone in the porn industry. Like I go to that urgent care because he knows what I do and he knows I need results fast. And a lot of people go to him. And when I went there, he definitely was basically, he gave me an anti-inflammatory and just a little bit of a muscle relaxer, just so I could relax. But that I was probably better in like a few days, but that was kind of like, those two were probably the worst that I ever had to experience ever in my entire life. It's just super painful.
Holy shit.
So after doing like so much extreme stuff, when you make love outside of the industry, recreationally now, do you find that you have to do more extreme things to get off, or is it the same as it was before?
It changes, just depending on my mood, but I don't think it's extreme. Like I'm not like asking like my person, like the person I'm fucking, oh yeah, I gave my butt because I just, like that's just, like, do I like gaping my butt to the camera? Totally. But for me, like if I'm trying to get off, it doesn't really get me off. It's just something really cool to do. I've always liked rough sex, and that has never changed. I've loved rough sex before I even knew it was defined as rough. I do go through different phases though. Like last year I loved taping all of every time I would have sex, I always had my phone to tape it for my fans just because I was getting really exhilarated. I was just channeling my inner exhibitionist, and it was a turn on for me. Nowadays, I have leaned towards more choking and breath play recently. So it just changes. Yeah. I don't know.
Lauren, real quick, what we're going to do is we're going to take a break for our commercial, for our sponsors real quick, and then we'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, Lauren Phillips, we'll be right back in a second.
Begin listening to the Happy Hour Podcast. I'm Jake the Snake Roberts, giving you that information.
We here at the HH Pod would like for you to go visit Tony, Kaylee, and the rest of their talented artists at Instant History Tattoo and Art Studio in beautiful downtown Havre de Grace. They were recently voted second runner-up in the best in Hartford County. Make sure you check them out and get some quality ink done. Once again, that's Instant History Tattoo and Art Studio.
Everybody, it's your boy, the Shining Diamond, Rico Diamante, and I am a graduate of the EWA Paint Factory. Have y'all ever dreamed of stepping out of the crowd and getting into the ring? I mean, that's exactly what I did, and all I'm doing is kicking ass and taking names since. The EWA Pain Factory is now accepting new students so you can experience the same success as the Shining Diamond, Rico Diamante. We're located at 1113 North Point Boulevard in Dundalk, Maryland, so make sure you find us on social media, on Twitter and Facebook. Make your dreams come true today.
Everybody, this is Bobby Starr, formerly of WCW, and you're listening to the Happy Hour Podcast.
Gentlemen, welcome back to the Happy Hour Podcast. This is Ray. Of course, I'm here with Psycrotes. Real quick, we're going to get into this week's Beer of the Week, and I picked up something real quick. Of course, our guest tonight, Lauren
Sadly,
Phillips.
Ray is the only one drinking tonight.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the thing. You can't drink, and of course, when Mike's here, Mike can't drink. So, I picked up something that's kind of homage to the sultry redhead we have on the show tonight, Smithwicks Red Ale. So, she's a fiery redhead, so went out, picked up some Smithwicks. Get out there, pretty decent. Pick it up, shout out to Smithwicks. Good stuff. And what we're going to do right now, we're going to go right back to the lovely Lauren Phillips. And I see on here that you also have a Twitch, so you are a gamer.
I am a gamer. It's funny because I'm trying to get back into camming right now, and that's one of the things I'm trying to get into. I actually had to take a break because I was getting a lot of demands to play games that I'm not into. So a lot of people wanted me to play like Outwatch and stuff like that, and it's just games that I don't really intrigue me that much. I prefer horror games, obviously, and strong female role games like Tomb Raider. I know The Last of Us is a really good game. I really like stuff like that.
And one game, actually, our episode last week was dedicated to video games. So if you get a chance, if you feel like if you get time, you want to watch it, definitely. It was us debating. Our one host, he likes older school video games. We like the newer school video games. But I talked about the Friday the 13th video game, which I thought was really decent. They did a stupendous job on that game. And it sucks that they couldn't release more of the content that they were going to, but when you brought up the horror games, I was like, oh man, have you played the Friday the 13th, the game?
I haven't yet. There's a lot of games on my list right now, and my goal for Twitch when I get on is I want to play the game until it's finished. Yeah. I feel like a lot of people just bounce back and forth between different games, and my goal for when especially when I get back onto Twitch, is to start the game and they watch and I play it until they see me finish it, so that hopefully building the attention span to people. But I did that with Outlast. So I didn't get to completely finish it because someone had asked me to try Fortnite. I tried that, I couldn't get in that either. Yeah.
I couldn't get in Fortnite. It was weird to me. Yeah. And
what is your favorite you played on there?
I have to say I am so old-fashioned. I love Tomb Raider. I've been playing Tomb Raider since I was a kid.
That was a good one.
I actually went back through I went online to research the different the Tomb Raiders and all that type of stuff. I remember seeing the old games that I used to play, and now seeing Tomb Raider with the graphics that it has and how it looks just like a movie. And then you see back then when I used to play, and I was like, damn, the video quality for video games is through the roof. It is so amazing. So I love Tomb Raider. And I still love Pokemon. They're the two ones that I've played since a kid.
Me and my wife, we played Pokemon Go for the longest time, and we stopped because I don't know if you've heard of it, but we did what they called spoofing, and it got to be so annoying after a while, just pretty much leaving your house and going all over the place to play this goddamn game. And we're like, well, we can go to Australia or wherever the fuck we want to go just from this. And then they came down on you really hard. And I understand, they consider it a way of cheating, but we were just kind of like, well, we're still putting a bunch of money into this game. Who gives a shit how we play?
Yeah, I went through I recently, especially when the lockdown happened and all I was doing, I was walking like 2 hours every day, and I would basically go on Pokemon Go. I would just walk around my neighborhood
Yeah.
and I just get lost in it. But God, I've been playing Pokemon since they were cards, and me and my friends would battle with the cards.
That's good. And the thing is I never grew up with Pokemon. My wife and her brother and my sister, they all grew up with Pokemon cards, all that stuff. I got in the Go, but then it kind of faded out for me a little bit once we couldn't spoof anymore. But I mean, it has one hell of a cult following. I know Super Smash Brothers. A lot of people like that. Pikachu is in Super Smash Brothers. So
Yeah. I am a huge Bulbasaur fan. Like, if I could have Bulbasaur as a pet, I remember going on Pokemon Go, and that was the first thing I was trying to find was a Bulbasaur. And I did find one, and I was like, "Oh, I got a Bulbasaur!" And then I had it like be like when I would walk around, it would be like out with me walking. I was like, "Oh, look, my Bulbasaur's with me, and I can pet it." It was
I like how we went from talking about extreme porn to Pokemon.
Well, you know what's going to happen when we get back on extreme porn? We're gonna jump back a little bit. We talked a little bit earlier about the virtual porn, and we had mentioned that last week on our episode 2 with the video games. That we brought up the whole how there's all these virtual video games coming out now, and we brought up the virtual porn. And our one co-host Matt, he's not here tonight. He had one of those little VR. He could put his Galaxy phone into it. And so he got that. So, of course, what's the first thing you're going to do with one of those goddamn things?
Watch porn.
Yeah, so you're going to watch porn. So he brings it over to his friend Mike's house, and he has the thing, and we're putting it on, and he's like, guys, you need to check this out. So, our wives are sitting inside having civilized conversations, all that. We're sitting out in the garage putting on this VR headset, watching this VR porn, and it's crazy. Like, Psycho, I don't know if you've ever seen any of this.
I haven't.
You put the headset on, and this shit is so interactive that you can literally sit there and watch what the fuck's going on TV.
Mm-hmm.
There could be a baseball game going on the TV, and you're watching. Meanwhile, all this sex stuff's going on, like all this shit's just going on, and you're like, "What?
What a time to be alive!"
yeah, exactly. Like that.
It is so realistic. It's like pretty awesome because I've done so many VR stuff, and each of them do something very different, but it's very intriguing how it like it happens and stuff like that.
Now with that, do they have like special kind of like maybe boom type cameras that they use for that? Like how is that different filming wise from what a normal scene is?
Well, for each company is different, but they do have specific cameras, and most of them look the same. I actually call them Johnny 5 because they look like Johnny 5 eyes. And I'm a huge like Johnny 5. Like I'm a huge robot fan. Like I love robots too. So I'm always like whenever I see it, I love doing VR because it kind of reminds me of it. It looks like a little robot. It's just eyes, and some of them have the ears. So if they want me to whisper, but most of the time when they shoot it, so basically when we shoot this, it more depends. I have a lot of responsibility because we really don't want to. The only time we really want to cut is when we have to switch to a position if that's what they want, and they have to inform me if they want me to switch to a position, and for them if they don't want to move the camera, because to do like missionary and then doggy or me being on top of them, they have to tilt the camera a certain way so that you can kind of see, but it's basically me talking most of the time. The guy doesn't talk. There's some companies where they don't even want the guy to touch me. That's usually like the hardest thing because they won't. I have to be careful to put my hands on his chest. Like they might not want that. But it's intriguing. It's very easy for me when it comes because I've been camming. So I can like if they want me to ad-lib and talk as much as I have no problems talking. I can talk someone's ear off no matter what. So
yeah, what do you think the next step in VR is going to be? Because I mean, obviously, like you said, with switching stuff around, like it's going to be interactive, and obviously gaming and everything like that. Everything's going to go to VR. Like you've probably seen those videos. I see them all the time on Facebook of people. You're just kind of standing there in a bar. Next thing you know, you're all fighting each other, throwing each other out of windows, and all that bullshit. And I see videos like that all the time. But we were talking last week, and we said that VR, you'll probably go as far as having suits. Like I said, it'd be cool for like a Grand Theft Auto or something like that. You're wearing like a chest pad, and when you get shot by the police or something like that, it's like a pulsating, and you actually kind of feel that kind of stuff. Do you think with porn it'd be the kind of thing where you have gloves and there's some sort of motion or feeling where it makes it feel like that you're touching breasts, or you think that have you heard anything discussed on how they're planning on furthering, virtual porn?
The only thing I've heard so far that someone's trying to do is to make it a little bit more virtual is creating like a pocket pussy, and then and it would be more for like camming, and then the model or the girl would have it, and if like a dildo, and you could feel her pussy, the contractions of her pussy or how fast she's going with the pocket pussy.
That's crazy. That's different.
I heard there used to be a company that had something like that. Unfortunately, they're no longer in business. And I remember talking to somebody who was trying to get something like that started as well. I personally think the next evolve for VR, if it hasn't already, is going to be VR like worlds. So like almost like creating getting an avatar, and you're there, and you can kind of like war like the Sims almost coming to life.
I was gonna say the Sims. Yeah, that would be seriously badass if the porn industry did something like that. Like that's one of those. Yeah, a lot of people will be like, "Take my money," type thing.
Yeah, and like stuff like that. Like I'm currently watching a movie called Uploads. It's another Amazon original, and it's basically something like what they think the future is going to be for like society. But I think that's probably going to be the next thing, especially with this lockdown and stuff like that. If something like that would come out, I think it would blow up because everyone wants that next, like, hey, I can't be around people. I don't want to like get sick, but I still want to be around people and feel like I'm having that interaction.
And Lauren, real quick, what we're gonna do, we're getting up on the time limit that we have here. What we're gonna do, we're gonna go over a couple of fan questions. Of course, I asked these fuckers for questions, and nobody wanted to send any in, so I got two of them for you. And one of them, it was kind of weird. It came from Twitter, and I don't know if this is something that only you would know what it is, or if the guy is weird, but it was in Spanish, so I had to Google translate the shit to find out what it said. And it basically, it's from Mitico on Twitter, and it said, "Who will be Flamengo's next coach?" And I don't know if that's something you would know what that was, or if he's just kind of fucking off. And I'm like, I don't even know what. I don't know if Lauren would.
I don't even know what that is.
So I was like, okay, I'm gonna ask it.
Wait, what was this guy's name?
Mitico. Yeah,
you fucking troll.
I think he's having too much tequila onto National Tequila Day.
And then another one is from Rick Polanski on Twitter, and he said, "What are your thoughts on the Internet Adult Film Database removing the interracial tag from their website?"
Oh, that's a very hard question to answer. It's very. I don't mind it being taken down. It's like a mixed emotion for me.
Yeah,
it's a mixed emotion. I think I think sometimes and it's different for everybody. This is just my opinion, and I do believe in Black Lives Matter, and having their lives matter will make everyone's lives matter. And the term interracial basically is a term just for Google. It's a Google search term, and for it being important, in my mind, I am so for everyone getting equal pay for any type of race that you're getting. I would love all different races to have equal, be more popular. But at the end of the day, we're also doing a fantasy. So it's like a mixed emotion for me. So it's funny because I actually had this conversation with my agent today as well. And it's funny that you're mentioning it. They wanted to take, they're going to take interracial, the label, down. And I was like, that's fine. You should take it down. I was like, but why not, instead of, you take it down and you don't have anything, why don't you just ask your performers or put the label willing to work with all race? Because at the end of the day, it's everybody, it's their body, their choice. What if a person doesn't want to work with a white person? What if a person doesn't want to work with an Asian person? What if a person doesn't want to work with a Black person? Like, is it racist? Yeah, it is. But, at the end of the day, it's, what do you want me to do? Yell at them and belittle them for something that they want to do? Like, it's not like they're taking lives. It's just something that they don't, if like, you can't change people by forcing fear and anger at them. It doesn't use, I've learned that it never really works that way. Someone changes when they can see the difference in what they think could be right or wrong, and what their morals or family values is for them. That's when it's a huge, that they're usually part of them will change. The only thing I think is going to suck is that, the internet's been around since 2008, I mean, and the interracial hashtag and term and tags
has been around forever.
Around forever. And now if you're taking the label down, and it's probably going to hurt.
It's gonna hurt people looking for that kind of genre. As someone looking for it, it's not there anymore. So I understand. I see it on both sides with that, and that's actually a really good explanation that you gave on that. So
it's different. But I can't come, like, at the end of the day, I'm not Black, and I've never had the experience what they've ever had the experience. I've never experienced what a Black woman had the experience, but I have had experience in the negativity of being a woman. And people trying to own women and thinking that they're property. And if they don't want interracial there, then maybe society shouldn't call me a whore.
And I mean, that's the thing. Unfortunately, porn stars always get a bad rap. And I mean, really, you guys are, doing a unique job. I always looked at it as a unique job, and of course, we come from a background, we've been in pro wrestling, that's different. It's just like porn. Porn's different. You have a different set of talent, and you use that talent, to make money. And what is your talent? Your talent's having sex with people, So I mean, that it just sucks how, certain women get, demonized for some of the stuff they do. Like, some of your scenes, people will go, oh man, that's disgusting. Me, I'm like, oh well, Green by gangbang, sign me up. But click on that. Like, that's
it's super different. Like I've had people throughout my entire career. I've had people saying I'm going to go to hell. I've had people get mad at me for doing an interracial porn, having sex with a Black guy. Like, there's people out there that always are going to have their opinions, but at the end of the day, I love my job, and my immediate family knows what I do, and they respect me. And at the end of the day, they know I'm a businesswoman, and I'm an actress. I get to having sex on camera, which is what I personally like. But then I also get to bring out the fantasy in people. So it's just different. Like it's hard to kind of like comprehend because, you know, it's just like seeing the stuff on mainstream, you know, like all the tags and stuff that they shoot on mainstream. Like if we're going to get limited and not being able to do certain things that porn is trending in, then why isn't mainstream not doing that too?
That's very true. That's very true. And with this, we're running a little long, but I have one final thought. You know, it's a question that for some reason I've been thinking about this all week. You've been in the porn business. You've been in a lot of scenes. You've seen a lot of dicks. A lot of dicks. Mm-hmm. More dicks than what I will probably ever see in my entire life, or more dicks than I would ever feel comfortable with seeing.
Well, it's like crazy.
Yeah. Let's not get too crazy here. Has there ever been a time where you sat there, and it doesn't have to be in the industry, out of the industry, or whatever, and all that you just sat there, and you just looked at a dick, and you were like, "Man, that's the ugliest dick I've ever seen in my life."
I don't think I've said like been like looking at a dick that it's ugly, but I have been on like set where I got frustrated with the dick because the guy couldn't get hard.
I got frustrated with the dick. You sat there, you grabbed the dick, and you looked it right in its eye. You were like, "You listen to me, you son of a bitch."
Like, I think that's like, all guys, especially guys that are trying to get into porn, are like, "Oh, I could do this. And I've had several times where male talent cannot get hard, and hey, I'm a trooper, man. I want you to feel I want my talent to feel connection with me. I want us to have a connection so it shows on camera. So I'm there. I'll dirty talk to you. I've licked nipples. I've sucked balls. I've had guys go down on me for like 30 some minutes off camera. And that's usually the most frustrating thing is if they can't get hard and you're trying to do a scene and you're there, and as a girl, you're kind of like, "Hey, I there's only so much I can do." And the best part that I love is when the guy comes up to me and says, "I'm so sorry. It has nothing to do with you." And I usually go to them like, "I know." Dude, I know. So,
and Lauren, just keep in mind what I brought up earlier. You need to do the Wendy's girl scene. So with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and let you go. We appreciate you being on the Happy Hour podcast. We will be back next week with Karen Fisher, another XXX film star, and we will see you next week. Peace out, everybody.